Okay, so I'm slowly getting back into YouTube. Um, yeah, I'd like to do more interesting videos, but this is still just a blog update um, about this week. So yeah, I study every week. I don't take weeks off, and so this week was no exception. I'm focusing mostly on Korean. In fact, this week was exclusively on Korean. I signed up for Babbel. I'd like to talk about Babbel. It's a very interesting platform they've developed there, but not this week because I didn't use it this week. I focused almost totally on Korean this week. That's mostly because on HelloTalk, one of my language partners, we never really hooked up before in the past, but she reached out to me. We tried to, and then it just didn't work out. She reached out to me again and said she's actually got a teaching certificate in Korean recently, wanted to try teaching me Korean on a regular basis. And I'm kind of skeptical. I said, really? There's a big time difference between America and Korea, and you're busy. I'm busy. Everyone's busy. So can we make this work? Well, we ended up making my schedule. She's found about 30 to 45 minutes of time every week that we have in common that's sort of open, barely. That would be my Monday right after work. I log off. I mean, I have technically 15 minutes between my when my shift ends and when my Korean lesson starts. So I'm working from home. That makes that feasible and doable. I can log off and log on. Obviously, sometimes I need to work late. Well, I'll just make it so that on Mondays I don't work late, or I could come back after if I really needed to. Um, but although working late with my job is although you can kind of do it, you kind of can't because I can't call people. It's no longer business hours after a certain time. So, but anyway, regardless, never mind my boring job. The I found it very motivating to have this lesson lined up, even though I don't look forward to the lesson whatsoever. In fact, I don't look forward to it. I kind of dread it simply because Mondays, I know I'm going to be really tired, both due to sleep deprivation and simply because it's Monday and it's right after work. Generally, ideally, I need about 1 hour from the end of my shift to kind of just wind down and relax and to really be in a position to properly focus on other things. But that's not going to happen. That I just have to, just sit down and do my best. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm actually finding it very motivating because she's doing this with me not because I'm paying her money, but because she wants to. So that's really cool. I didn't really realize that in itself was a motivator for me to have someone want to talk to me in Korean on a regular basis. That's just really cool. Um, when I studied Japanese, it's been several years. I had a friend whom I met also on Hello Talk, and we did Skype lessons, not lessons, just Skype conversations once a week for a couple of years. This was after I come back from Japan. So I was already able to have conversations, but speaking to her once a week, even though I wasn't doing the best job of studying um, between our sessions, I was still at least watching anime, and I did a little bit of studying. But basically, it was really helpful. I felt like my Japanese actually got better, even though I wasn't in Japan, because I was talking to her once a week for a couple hours. So yeah, this is I can't say the lessons we're doing are super motivating, but just between lessons, I feel more motivated to study Korean. And of course, I'm still watching YouTube. So and sometimes I see a couple. There's actually a few videos that kind of have an impact on me. I will say that recently, YouTube has been less impactful for me. It used to be I would watch several videos that I found motivating, interesting, stimulating, or something I would like to talk about on my own channel, like a React video or something. I don't know, but less often, but still happens. And this video was one such video. Um, the video is about that's called "Meet a Canadian Teen Gifted with a Super," and it cuts off superior autobiographic memory, I think, but basically superior memory. And she has something called HSAM, which is an acronym for highly superior autobiographical memory. Essentially, she has the ability to recall I don't know how far back it goes, but she can recall specific, like you give her a date, she can recall what she did, everything, the conversation she had, what other events happened that day. She just it remembers that day, and she can reference it by the date. So she has like really fast recall, just like it happened yesterday, literally, and it's just that amazing. And she has like that like that's her life experience, but she can remember other things just super well, like regarding pop culture. She's actually a teenager. I'll put the link below so you can check out the video. It's very interesting. She's in her last year of high school, so she's I think 18 or 17, and um, yeah, so she she's a teenager, obviously interested in pop culture, and she can remember just her immediate recall of pop culture. There's a brief clip of like a quiz, or a contest, but it was no contest. Everyone was just kind of watching her like in awe, in the video. And she just remembers just most like everything, at least everything it seems like, just immediately as it is, and specifically scripts. So you kind of wonder, or I wonder, if she wanted to study languages, how how quickly would she learn the language? Does she pick up foreign languages without trying, just by mistake, by just maybe watching, I don't know, watching Spanish TV shows or movies with English subtitles, maybe. If her, can she just, I don't know. I guess if you can't hear it, you kind of have to understand. But if she put some time into it, she would start be able to understand it. I think. I don't know. I don't know how amazing her recall is for that. I'm guessing probably not, but you still would have to imagine she would learn a language a lot faster than say I would. I'm desperately trying not to forget everything I study, and it's a horrible, it's a losing battle for sure. And I'm gonna to combat that. Of course, I use Anki more than anything else. It's the Anki is the spaced repetition flashcard app for my computers or smartphone. And yeah, so I kind of it's a tool I've used for since I started learning Japanese, but I've never really been happy with it. Rote memorization to me, when I studied languages before Japanese, I determined it was a complete waste of time, at least for me. I know other people may be a little different, but I was kind of convinced that for most people it was also a waste of time. But uh, that was before computers, and they had this Anki app where it was spaced repetition algorithms to kind of space things out for you. However, I have found that um, I found basically that the spaced repetition algorithm is not very good for me. It seems like I forget material really fast. Or anyway, if I miss a day or take some time off, you would think that I remember some of the stuff, but I've had like Anki decks or vocabulary decks. If I take a couple weeks off and I go back, it's basically all gone, and it's like not even a little bit. It's just completely gone. It's like I'm back to square one, and yeah, so it just me it's I still stubbornly feel like this is a tool I have to make it work. So I experiment with it, and the current thing I'm doing right now, and if it's really successful, I'll give details in my. I'll make a video, kind of like a proper video showing, with screen, like a screen recording showing what I'm doing and how to set it up, if it works. But I keep doing experiments with this, and I usually change my mind, or it doesn't. It's maybe okay, but not great. So I kind of change things up every week. But what I'm essentially doing is I'm doing a recall deck. So on side one of the flashcard, I have a picture and I have an English definition. I don't have a sentence. I'm basically using, for Korean, I'm using Evita's deck. I have found that her word order is the best word order for Korean that I have found, compared to my own. Like if I make my own flashcards from vocabulary, from reading my own material, or I encounter wherever, I find that those words I forget them faster than the words that she puts in this deck in her word order. So I'm going to just stick to her deck and basically not make my own flashcards until I am I finished her deck, so to speak, and she's got over 6,500 cards. So that's a heck of a lot of cards. So I've got, and I'm going to try to go through as quickly as I can. I'm at about 3,000 cards, so it's taken me several years to do that, but that's still a lot of progress. Um, the big trick I'm doing, of course, I'm making it recall. What I usually do is reading, because I found that when I'm tired, if I'm again, I'm doing, and if I'm using the spaced repetition algorithm, I'm doing a lot of repetitions. I get tired. I'm seeing the card. I don't want to fail it. I have to make it as easy as possible. So it's a reading. But I found, of course, if you force yourself to recall the vocabulary, then that, well, I think it ingrains the word in your brain a bit better. Unfortunately, if you use the spaced repetition algorithm to essentially not forget it, well, it's not going to work. You're going to forget it. Your brain is going to just, especially if you're, because that's the hardest way to test yourself. And most of the cards will basically become leeches right away. I would argue that most of the vocabulary I have are all leeches. They're just slow leeches. Some words are immediate leeches and some are slow leeches. But so what I'm doing is um, the steps. I'm making it the first step, because in the Anki you can do steps. So you test yourself. You have to get it right after 20 minutes. And normally you then test yourself the next day. Well, I'm not doing it the next day. I'm scheduling to look at it in 2 weeks. So I have to memorize the word for and recall it actively for at least 20 minutes. It might be, that would be the minimum. Usually it'd probably be a bit longer because I might study in the morning and then have some more time in the afternoon. So it could be several hours, but same day for sure. And oftentimes it would be 20 minutes because I'm studying a lot of, I have, if I'm studying like a lot of words at once, then it'll come up. I'll keep using Anki for 20 minutes or more. And so I get it, and that feels good. I feels like it's in my head. And some of these words, I think I'm actually, maybe some of them it's in my head, maybe forever, but not forever, but it's in my head very, at least a good, I don't know, like a good hook in my head for the next week. And I don't think I need to review it right away. And again, with the leeches, if you put it out for 2 weeks, the idea is that you will, when you see it in 2 weeks, if you get it wrong, and you will get it wrong, most of them, I think, you won't feel so bad. It'll actually feel like you're learning a new word instead of forgetting a word that you should know, which is how it often feels most of the time when I'm doing Anki. I feel like I'm forgetting words that I should know. So to avoid that, we're doing this 2-week step. Additionally, if I don't study, refresh the word for 2 weeks, that gives me a whole lot more time to learn other vocabulary. So I'll be cycling or actively studying throughout the course of 2 weeks, a whole lot more vocabulary than I was before. And I think that even if I remember just a very small percentage of this much larger pool of vocabulary words, then it's going to feel better. And again, I could, because I'm seeing new words more, it's probably going to hopefully feel better. Yeah. I hope that made sense. If you use Anki as much as I do, then it probably made sense. But if not, maybe you're just like, whatever. I lost, as soon as you said Anki, I tuned out. Yeah. So, but this, to me, it seems like a big deal, which is why I'm talking about it. Anki, if I can really make Anki more effective for me, then that will be really, I think that would be a game changer. And yeah. Other than that, I guess I'm doing italki. I'm watching a lot of Korean YouTube. I prefer YouTube style videos that are actually similar to this video, where there's just one person just talking to a camera. Usually the vocabulary they use and is more simple because it's off the cuff, and the language is just easier, and they speak slower very clearly. It's usually instead of doing, like, I don't know, like an interview, although interviews aren't terrible, but like TV shows, whatever. Anyway, it's going good, and I feel like I'm making progress, but I'm hoping this change to Anki will make more progress. And that video I mentioned before is extremely interesting. I'd recommend you go check it out.